From translation, TLB, the Living Bible. This 77th day of the year. Today we are reading passages, Judges 1 to 2. Judges chapter 1, verses 1 to 36. After Joshua died, the Israelites asked the Lord, which of our tribes should go first to attack the Canaanites? The Lord answered Judah, for I have given them victory over the land. Then Judah said to Simeon, his brother, Come with me into the territory allotted to us, and let us attack the Canaanites together. Afterward you will be helped in your territory as well. So Simeon went with him. When Judah attacked, the Lord gave them victory over the Canaanites and Perizzites, and they defeated 10,000 men at Bezek. At Bezek they found Adoni-bezek, and they fought against him and defeated the Canaanites and Perizzites. Adoni-bezek fled, but they pursued him and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Adoni-bezek said, I once cut off the thumbs and big toes of 70 kings who had picked up scraps under my table, as if I were a dog. Now God has repaid me for what I did to them. They took him to Jerusalem, and he died there. The men of Judah attacked Jerusalem and captured it, killing the inhabitants and setting the city on fire. Then they went on to attack the Canaanites living in the hill country, the Negev, and the western foothills. Judah advanced against the Canaanites living in Hebron, formerly called Kiriath-arba, and defeated Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai. From there they advanced against the inhabitants of Debir, which was formerly called Kiriath-sepher. Caleb said, I will give my daughter Iksah in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Kiriath-sepher. Othniel, Caleb's nephew, captured it, so Caleb gave him his daughter Iksah in marriage. When she arrived, she persuaded Othniel to ask her father for a field. As she got down from her donkey, Caleb asked her, What can I do for you? She replied, Please give me a special blessing. You have already given me the land in the Negev, give me also the springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper and lower springs. The descendants of Moses' father-in-law, the Kenites, went up from the city of palms with the people of Judah to live in the wilderness of Judah, in the Negev near Arad. Then the men of Judah went with their brothers the Simonites, and attacked the Canaanites living in Zephath, and they completely destroyed the city. That is why the city was called Hormah. Judah also took Gaza, Ashkelon, and Ekron, along with their surrounding territories. The Lord was with the men of Judah, and they took possession of the hill country, but they could not drive the people from the plains, because they had iron chariots. As Moses had promised, Hebron was given to Caleb, and he drove out the 3 sons of Anak. But the Benjamites failed to drive out the Jebusites living in Jerusalem, so the Jebusites have lived there among the Benjamites to this day. The house of Joseph also attacked Bethel, and the Lord was with them. They sent spies to Bethel, which was formerly called Luz. The spies saw a man coming out of the city and said to him, Show us a way into the city, and we will spare you and your family. So he showed them, and they put the city to the sword, but they spared the man and his family. The man went to the land of the Hittites and built a city there, and named it Luz, the same name as the city he had left. But Manasseh failed to drive out the people of Beit-Shan, Taanach, Dor, Ibleam, and Megiddo, and their surrounding villages, for the Canaanites were determined to stay in that land. When Israel became strong, they made the Canaanites slaves, but they never drove them out completely. Ephraim failed to drive out the Canaanites living in Jezer, so the Canaanites continued to live there among them. Zebulun failed to drive out the Canaanites living in Kitron and Nahalol, so the Canaanites lived there among them, but they were made to do forced labor. Asher failed to drive out the people of Akko, Sidon, Arlab, Exib, Helba, Aphik, and Rehob, so the Asherites lived among the Canaanites, who were not driven out. Naphtali failed to drive out the people of Beth-Shemesh, so the Naphtalites lived among the Canaanites, who were not driven out, but were made to do forced labor. The Amorites forced the Danites into the hill country, and would not let them come down into the plains. The Amorites were determined to stay in Mount Heres, in Ajalon, and in Shaalbim, but when the power of Joseph's descendants became great, they were made to do forced labor. The boundary of the Amorites was from Scorpion Pass to Selah and on upward. Judges chapter 2, verses 1 to 23. The angel of the Lord went up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said to the Israelites, I brought you out of Egypt, and led you into the land I promised to give to your ancestors. I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and you must never make a covenant with the people of this land. You must tear down their altars, but you have disobeyed me. Why have you done this? Now I tell you that I will not drive out these nations before you. They will become traps for you, and their gods will become a snare to you. When the angel had said these things to all the Israelites, the people wept aloud, so that place was called Bochim, which means weeping. There they offered sacrifices to the Lord. After Joshua had dismissed the Israelites, they went to take possession of the land, each to his own inheritance. The people served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and of the elders who outlived him, and who had seen all the great things the Lord had done for Israel. Joshua son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. And they buried him in the land of his inheritance, at Timnath-Heres in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Gaash. After that whole generation had been gathered to their ancestors, another generation grew up who knew neither the Lord nor what he had done for Israel. Then the Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and served the Baals. They forsook the Lord, the God of their ancestors, who had brought them out of Egypt. They followed and worshipped various gods of the peoples around them, and provoked the Lord to anger. They forsook the Lord to serve Baal and the Ashtoreths. The Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he handed them over to raiders who plundered them. He sold them to their enemies all around, and they could no longer withstand their enemies. Whenever the Israelites went out to fight, the hand of the Lord was against them to defeat them, just as he had sworn to them, and they were in great distress. Then the Lord raised up judges, who saved them out of the hands of their raiders. Yet they would not listen to their judges, but prostituted themselves to other gods and worshipped them. They quickly turned from the way in which their ancestors had walked, obeying the commands of the Lord. They did not do so. When the Lord raised up judges for them, he was with the judge and saved them out of the hands of their enemies all the days of the judge, for the Lord relented because of their groaning under those who oppressed them and afflicted them. But when the judge died, the people returned to ways even more corrupt than those of their ancestors, following other gods and serving and worshipping them. They refused to give up their evil practices and stubborn ways. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and said, "Because this nation has violated my covenant that I made with their ancestors and has disobeyed me, I will no longer drive out before them any of the nations Joshua left when he died. I will use them to test Israel and see whether they will keep the way of the Lord and walk in it as their ancestors did." The Lord had allowed those nations to remain. He did not drive them out at once by giving them into the hands of Joshua.